This is the July meeting, the August meeting of the Virginia-Highland Association Board of Directors. We're calling it to order at 7 minutes, 7:01. And here, we do have a quorum present here tonight, and thanks for coming to the storm. Without Alex or any police officials, we're going to move straight to the planning committee. Mr. Arnold has to go first since he has to get to Morningside. So, Lola, it's all yours. 15-177.
Okay, Mark, you ready to go through your application?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
You can give a preamble,
I don't really have a
Precis.
a preface?
You do so well.
Go ahead.
Okay. All in me then. I'm Mark Arnold. I'm the architect for 755 Elkmont. This is Gunther Huber, how do you say it? Huber. Half of the owners.
This
And-
one helped.
He and Lisa have 2 kids in a small house on a small lot, and are hoping to get a variance to decrease the front yard setback and both side yard setbacks so that we can add a covered porch on the front. Have y'all seen this? I have small copies if you want. So a covered porch on the front that shows on the first floor plan in your package and also on the elevations. We're squaring off a corner in the back left, and that, along with putting a screen porch with the footprint of the existing deck, necessitates the side yard setbacks off the south side. And on the north side, we're adding stairs from the new screen porch, and that necessitates the setback on the north side. The lot coverage is within the allowable limits. It's at 47.3%. Everything kind of slopes towards the back right. We met with the planning committee, and upon the recommendation, we voted for some sort of rain garden or vegetated filter strip at the back right corner. And we tweaked the layout of the driveway. There really wasn't a variance issue, but it could have been a permitting issue down the road. And last meeting I had 1 letter, but now Gunther has received 2 other letters that I can show the committee, and we have 3 proofs of mailing. Any questions?
Sorry, was the front porch wasn't part of the variance because it was pre-existing, or did you?
No, it's part of it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's in the request.
It's down to the existing 20.3. Is that?
The referral certificate has it as reducing the front yard setback from 35 feet to 20 feet.
Which is existing, because it's impervious already?
Yeah, it is brick pavers that encroaches further at that point. We're not taking in the whole footprint, but just a portion of it. So we're going to do footings and foundations, so we'll need a variance. But the pavers, that's the existing survey. There's pavers here and pavers here. We're going to use some of that area, but the porch is going to come with about half of that. So we're actually restoring permeable area in the front yard.
Well,
I had one question on this letter. I showed 760 as being the letter on my map. Do you know which address that is if I said it?
760 Wood Street.
Elkmont.
No, it's 650.
You're here.
475. So 760 is directly. Is that Shack or he's to the left, right?
No, Shack is 756. Across the street is
760. So do you have?
760. Yeah, which should be in the mailing certificate.
There was one that was hard to read, and I wrote it as 756, so maybe that was 760, but.
That's 760.
No, that's 764.
Yeah, we may need to get you 760.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we went to the right of 760.
So you still need 760, you have a new
Yeah, I
site
think
plan?
I wrote the wrong address on the stoop here. But I was actually, I sent everything 3 weeks ago by email, and I've been emailing, texting back and forth with Stu, and he was like, oh yeah, I can get this to you, no problem.
You talked to him, so yeah,
I've talked to him.
756 is what I didn't, we didn't need.
Yeah, I
So
think
you
I-
wrote the wrong, okay.
I wrote
okay.
756 instead of 760.
All right.
So we have a new stamp site plan?
Yeah, so the site plan with the vegetated strip in the back.
Yeah, August.
Just today, yeah.
Okay.
Site.
So, you know, went to the site, requested some of these additions, which they've added. I don't see any issues, there weren't any tree issues. So, can I go ahead and make a motion?
Sure.
Move to approve B-15-177, based on the site plan, stamped August 10th, 2015, conditioned on, if you could email or make sure that 760 Elmont is notified.
Sure.
Yeah. No issue.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions from the audience or any board members? No questions. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. And it is unanimous. So thank you very much. Right, we'll see y'all, we'll get into we'll see you at the NTU next week.
Yes.
7, those meetings are moving ever so much more expeditiously now, so. Kid you not.
Okay.
So, don't be late. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. In my haste to get Mark out the door, I neglected.
Very good.
Adopt the agenda. I should adopt the agenda. Without objection, it is done. So let's move on to B-15-156, 630 Crest Hill. By the way, that address was Elmont, not Elmont, not Elmwood.
Adam, the Town Renovations Group. I'm the applicant on behalf of John Allen Bender at 630 Crest Hill Avenue. The variance on the paperwork says that the setback is going to 2 feet. It's actually 3 feet, which is shown on the plans. It's not 2 feet.
It's written correctly.
Yeah, so that's been changed. We have our proof of mailings.
Yeah.
You got those?
No, yeah, he was asking if it said 3 feet on the property.
Okay.
It does say 3 feet.
All right.
I thought, yeah, we did approve a mailing at the earlier meeting.
Right, okay. I have a copy of the site plan, you can see that, full size. And well, you know, we worked out a lot with the neighbors.
You can give a brief precis of this. It's actually interesting from other purposes, so.
Yeah, we've instituted a rain garden here, which wasn't part of the original plan. We're having a detached carport here. And what we've done is actually way above and beyond what is being required by the city to do for the runoff from the carport.
Robin, you were one of the people under whose yards
Yes.
the original flow got to. Would you like to illuminate specifically why the vendors who are not here, but who deserve some commendation along with the architects and builders for approving what was a theoretically legal but not very good outcome?
Well, we had, and when they had done the previous very large renovation, there had been 2 buried drain pipes that took all of the runoff off the property into our yard and our neighbor's yard. And so from our house, it caused us to have flooded. We got compromised footings in our basement from our house, and they corrected, and that we had to deal with, and our neighbor just has a lot of washout in his yard. And so there wasn't a requirement to deal with rainwater at the time they did that first renovation, which resulted in all of that kind of downstream effect. And so then when they came to do their garage, they were kind enough to kind of address the situation as if kind of like it's been created the first time around, not the second time
Right.
around. And so,
Because there's also a lot of runoff from adjacent
Right.
properties. that are heading
We're
to.
all downstream from the line.
I think the point is a fair one. It wasn't just this one, though this renovation may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. But there was a huge amount of water from others, and it is the classic tragedy of the commons where we have gotten away for years without properly dealing with stormwater on our own property, and it includes many of us at this table, including me and others. We've been able to discharge it off the property, and the stormwater ordinance doesn't allow that. But here's a case in which they'd already exceeded the minimum requirements of the stormwater ordinance, which we need strengthening, that does suggest that. But it also points out they went to a lot of trouble to collect the other water, stick it in a rain garden, and it actually, I don't think, was incredibly easy for me to say, intrusive to them, because the rain garden, slightly bigger rain garden has a great deal greater capacity and it's holding a lot more water. And so everybody's going to be better off, and we're going to be asking, often without the sterling character of this applicant or the incentive, which he could have forced through without this, I'm quite certain. So we appreciate that.
I'm not sure if they would have liked that in the middle of the playground, but that's what they had.
Right, well, I mean, there's,
It'll be pretty.
I think there's actually ways to do that where you can have grass or
All right, well, thanks for the work. Chip and Pam worked on this.
yeah, they,
And the builders were helpful, and everybody pitched in, and the vendors are spending more money, and they didn't have to, and we appreciate that. And here, as is often the case, fixing this at the source is a fraction of the cost of dealing with it further downstream, and that, of course, it's different people's money, but
yeah, they're taking the right steps up front.
really appreciate this. Any questions for anyone in the
You want to keep that?
audience or
Yeah,
others?
that's
Should we
Thanks
go
for all
on
your
this
help.
one? No further questions?
I don't want to talk
I'm
about
sorry,
it.
yes. Was there a
I
question?
don't want to talk about it, I just want to.
Was there a question? Got a motion?
Move to approve 315-156, based on site plan stamped and dated August 4th, 2015. And I think we need to condition it on the revision of the application, the actual language,
What are we doing?
from 2 feet to 3.
Well, if they're doing it on the site plan, Debbie, you got an opinion? The application says 2 feet, the site plan says 3.
My application says 3 feet.
I think we're fine on the
So
site
both the
plan.
west and the rear is.
I think we're quite.
Okay.
So I think we're fine.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a second? All in favor? Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week at
Absolutely.
And what was the date of the session?
8/4.
8/4. Great.
We'll be under Debbie's care, and it'll be much, you're moving along over there.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're gonna miss it. Is that it? We're losing you?
No, just want to say quickly, we are, unfortunately for you.
D-15-194, a special exception for 798, 800 North Highland, Ms. Barton.
I'm sorry. I got the little side plan that shows you the shed again. Of course, I can make this full size. There's areas that shows. It's so small, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's good, that's good.
Yeah, electronics are great, but, you know.
Maybe it's just mark the upside upstairs. It's a little hard to understand.
Okay, and here's the conditions, and I tried to word them based on the conversation we just had.
Okay, way to go. Go back and make sure we're all.
Okay. You make an amendment, so you can check this over. Jack,
Yes.
the 18 events per year, are those limited 18 for any day of the week?
No, 18 after.
We were talking about 18 weekend events per year.
Okay.
If that accommodates everything, so there won't be more than 18 a year, there's no need to, I think that's what you were trying to get at, because weddings may be grouped
To a month,
May to
none.
September, October, not so much in the winter.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're trying to get at, but I wrote and reacted very hastily here. I didn't have the usual 20 seconds. So Lauren, you're responsible. That's a lame substitute Tell us about his engineering skills. So actually, David.
So you have 18 events.
I disagree with Peter. Frank and David.
On those 3 nights. Games they want to go.
It's actually sort of interesting. I know you do. He's actually, he'll enjoy this. It's actually interesting. I predict he will enjoy it.
Such a ministry will continue past 6:30.
Although it is at the front. I'm not going to let him
Philip,
Again.
good to see you.
So for the 18 events,
Sorry,
are you saying,
make you sweat.
are you guys okay with us having 18 of them? And then if we have more than that, we need to have these 2 things in place? Or are you saying for the 18, these 2 things?
I'm saying that if you're going to end after 6:30, you'll, on those days, you'll find provision, and you wouldn't limit it to, you don't anticipate, I don't guess we're going to be up there.
Right, no, I'm just trying to.
You're planning that there won't be more than 18, which is based on what we just said the other day, and that would be generous plenty, and that you will, if you're going to go after 6:30,
I see.
I think you're going to do, and I don't care, the notification, I think you should just tell us it will happen, because it's easy, but you really need the department.
We have to have many.
Well, I don't know how you can pull it off, as you pointed out the other day.
That's what we
we're
talked
interested in, is can you just, and Spark would normally be available most, if that's our actual work.
And we're talking about
We already done it.
And it's not very far, I mean, it's all the way to July. It's not far, I know it's not distance at all.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So, I mean, but we're trying to, I know you're trying to move forward, if you want to postpone this, we can negotiate this at length, but I know you don't. You can bring it up.
Yeah, so 18 is fine, and then if we were to have events in addition to that, or something that would go over into 6:30, then we would need to make sure that we have parking before that.
Well, no, I'm saying that you won't go at 6:30 on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, unless you do that, and you don't expect it, is that what we're saying? Okay.
Yeah, but for the 18,
He's also saying only 18, not more than.
yeah, so 18 is, we don't need to get secured parking for the 18.
No, we are disagreeing. I mean, I'm saying if you go past 6:30, then you'll come up with some way to find some parking that doesn't involve people crashing into the neighborhood at 4:30, blanketing the neighborhood and staying till 8 or 8:30. There will be well if that happens too much or very often. So we're saying if you've got an event that's going past 6:30, we'll plan on Thursday. I'm not worried so much on the other days. On Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, we'll find a way, even Sunday, I don't think it's at all. But you'll find, because all the streets free on Sunday. But you'll find a way to find some other way to park it on Thursday, Friday, or
So
Saturday.
so you're saying for any event?
Yes, 6:30.
Any
One
event
before that, we're okay.
Yeah, we're not worried about anything.
Okay,
before
that's, you
6:30.
just clear, yeah.
I'm just trying to make it clear, and if you think it's getting out at 6, nobody's freaking if 1 or 2 people doesn't drag it out, or it doesn't, at the end, you're always, but
So last time when I said, if we have dedicated parking, does the 18 matter at all? You said last time, no, it doesn't matter, because you have parking. This time, I guess you changed that some?
okay, let's be sure, because, go ahead.
That's okay, that's just my question.
No, I'm trying to make sure I understand you.
Okay, yeah.
I want to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When we spoke last time, I said, right towards the end.
Go ahead.
Y'all can,
Help me here.
I said, so if we have a parking lot that's dedicated for the event, then it doesn't matter if it's 18 or 100 if we have our own parking lot.
Yeah, I actually don't, I'm willing, I mean, I was throwing the 18 in there, I'll tell you why, for any neighbors around that are upset, it helps make it clear that y'all have opined and believe that it should be more than about that. I don't think anybody's up there counting. If you, I think if you could rent enough parking somewhere, I don't think we'd care if you had 100, if it wasn't affecting the parking. Jennifer, you're thinking careful?
Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. So then the 18 is not.
Well, we're not really trying to do that. We're really trying to say that, yeah, so why don't we put it this time, you do not anticipate more than about 12.5 such events a year. And if it turns into a lot more, then we'll know, okay, we didn't imagine that. And so, but it has no legal force. Does that affect fair enough? That not more than about 18 are anticipated? Go ahead.
Not that many.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to throw a carrot to the neighbors around that are saying, what the hell, there's gonna be 75 of these a year. And I say, no.
Question for me, Otto.
Jack, how do you plan on tracking your
We do
recording?
not. We don't. It's a statement by the folks that this is what ballpark they're in. We're not tracking it. We're gonna hire somebody to hang around and count.
So I suspect that.
And we're not planning to go over it, so.
Yeah.
Right, so I suspect that the Bureau of Buildings will not see this as one of the conditions that they would attach by the BZA. And I think that's an agreement that the church is now making with the neighborhood.
Well, it's not even an agreement. All they're agreeing to is that that's what they anticipate right this second. They can start anticipating something else tomorrow at 10 in the morning, but what I'm trying to just add on there, so you can phrase it very conditionally, that at this point, that's the applicant notes that, though it does not have the force of legal, that it's not an agreement, that they do not anticipate more than 18. And in 10 years, if there's a bunch of different people up here negotiating with different people at your church, they'll still be in the record of what the thought was. Is that fair enough? So you're not restricted at all, except by getting the parking. So if you plan to go.
We should have to do either.
But there will always be parking arranged if it's after 6:30.
On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Any church event that is conducted on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday will conclude at 6:30 p.m. Except such events may conclude past 6:30 p.m. if the Virginia-Highland Civic Association is given prior notice, and 2, dedicated parking for the event will be acquired.
Yeah.
I would strike clause 1. I mean, we don't need to be notified. Yeah, we're not gonna.
That would be, and if we didn't do it
That's
all the
fine.
time, we wouldn't run anything anyway, you know?
It's fine. You
So
can
there
take
would
it
be
out.
like, there's no other churches that have to tell them.
No, no.
that something happened.
No, they're only, well, that's right, but they also have their own parking lots, and they're not asking for any, so that's, other churches don't come, the Lutheran church didn't come in here. And if, by the way, if they tried to do it now, no, but they were grandfathered in on their use prior and ahead of time. The other, if the Druid Hills Press came in right now and tried to enlarge their sanctuary, there would be some severe fund to pay, because they don't have a third of the spots they need.
No,
for
we're
the
only
existing.
talking about, do they need to tell us?
No,
Well, there's no neighborhood opposition here. I mean, no one has shown up. I don't think it's worthwhile or fruitful to put an unenforceable clause in. So I'm not in favor of
I don't, you can put that in there. You can flip it to the second one. The church will try to will try to acknowledges that it would be in good and neighborly interest to acknowledge notify the Civil Association of such events if they want to add on other nights than that. That would be fine. How about that? We're just being good neighbors here. It's all, I like the tone of it, because when you go back to review the discussion at a future time, you see what issues people were talking about and thinking about. And I wish we had that right now. We'd love to have a better record than we do right now with the prior tenants, that you had to dig through the minutiae, the dustbin of history to.
I know, but when we pulled those site plans, it was amazing because it was like this thick and they had column after column after column of documentation. I'm just thankful that the warehouse didn't lose the flames.
Well, that's a miracle right there.
It is a
But my point is the documentation to reflect the discussion. I guess we can put it in our minutes if you want. It's not a requirement either way. It's
I guess
just,
I'm not, I don't support this. I don't support the concept, so I'm not
the concept of,
mindful of, or it is not important to me to reflect your discussion, because I don't support this limitation and this
What's limitation?
requirement. That they notify the civic
It's
association,
not, it
and
wouldn't
that they have
limit
18 events. I'm not in
those are,
favor
neither
of
one
it.
of those are limitations. We've taken them out as limitations. We've just said that's what they anticipate, and they will let us know. So it's not a limitation at all.
But
They can have more
They can
if
have
they have
88.
dedicated parking.
it's, I just don't think it's fruitful to put in wishes and hopes and anticipations and things that aren't enforceable and things that aren't concrete. And to me, this is just unnecessary meddling in their affairs and their business.
And just to add to it, we did talk to the other businesses around there that they're obviously suffering from parking issues down there. So they were very welcoming of this group coming in, but they did want to address that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night is definitely a parking issue, and they would like some assurance that you all would, and so this is the only way we know how to do it. This is one of the best uses we've had the potential of coming through here. But if it does jam up and make all those other businesses not have capacity for parking for their restaurants, then we've got a big issue with that node. And I think we're just trying to avoid that. So again, the restaurants and businesses are excited about everyone coming. They want to know that they're cognizant of the parking issues. So that's why it's in there. To mention one other thing, I still wanted to talk, unless we can finish discussing this. It's about the not subleasing. Did you feel like we got that?
Well, I think I accepted Diane's take on that pretty well. Is she gone?
No.
Oh.
It says in the back that with the exception of the small space included in the church assembly will be enclosed for church offices. Said area will be for the exclusive use of the church and will not be rented for independent business operations. I think what we were also trying to be sure that it wasn't rented for other types of events that weren't associated with the church, which is why I was concerned that it said all of the uses of any of the spaces would be for church-related use.
And we agree with that. That's really the way the parking would work. But I thought when I said we for the exclusive use of the church, we're not going to rent independent business operations.
But you're saying the church meeting rooms and/or accessory spaces, you're not saying the entire.
So that was focused really in the upper area where we're going to build out
I
meeting
mean,
for
those
offices.
areas up there in the balcony.
You're talking about the entire space.
Except the small.
Yeah.
She's talking about
Have
the
an
whole,
event
whole space
in
Yeah,
those
I think
spaces,
it's
yes,
Somewhere in there is
you want
that you rent it out
for a concert.
a concert or something.
Yeah.
or somebody else's fundraiser event, or,
So that's a separate issue.
So that any use of that space is church, your church association.
I think if you change the thing that said set area, if you took both that area and these, neither that area nor, both that area and the assembly area will be for the exclusive, that would encompass it. Is that, I think that's what we're
That
doing.
makes sense.
Fair enough?
The only concern I have is that we want the neighborhood to use it. And if it's limited to just our church, and some of you would like to use it for different things, and we need a cleaning fee or something, are you allowing that? Because we use it literally once a week, and it is such a waste of space if the neighborhood can't use it. And so I would ask that you would put something in there that would allow us to open it up and let our neighbors use it when needed.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a very slippery
We didn't
slope.
want to do Victoria headquarters there, what you just said, that we couldn't use it.
Well, it wouldn't be.
No, we'll be
subleased.
renting it.
No,
I mean,
right.
we wouldn't dream it would be anyway. It would violate the lease.
Yes, and I think, that kind of solves it there, those types of
Well,
events.
people can make a donation, you can do the Plaza Theater maneuver, which is how, can't rent there, they can't rent from the church across the board. They can just make a donation.
I would assume the church members, if I was a church member and had my wedding there, they would expect me to pay a fee to clean the church up after the event,
Well,
even though I'm,
we would,
Yeah,
even though I'm a church.
we would do that. I don't think that counts a cleaning fee.
Church-related business.
It's not, it's not what we're after, there's not, it's not party time at the church.
Yeah, so that's kind of at cost.
Yeah, well,
Trying to just keep out like.
Well, wouldn't they have to be activities that would be appropriate for a church? I mean, you wouldn't have a rave, and
Yeah.
We don't regularly have those.
That's,
not regularly. I'd make a very tight condition then.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, yes.
As long as it works, others.
Yeah, I think that that's.
okay, so if you reviews it, change it, I mean, that's a good idea. Robin would love to have, and actually, that would be a great spot to do.
it's a great asset, I mean, we would love to be able to share it.
And understand that we're not trying to.
The other day, we parked, we do our little shuttle zone.
They were definitely happy to have you guys.
No, we are,
Watch out,
and I mean,
not
we're-
hurt the other students.
And Jennifer's a good lawyer, and I get where she's coming from. Also get that it was us that talked to other businesses and tried to sell them that this is gonna be just fine. The first thing they all said was, you know, we're gonna be, how much competition is there gonna be? We said, don't you worry. It's gonna
But
be
we're
okay."
excited to have, they all wanted. the
Everybody's glad to have it, and they'll come eat. You know, I think all kind of good things are gonna happen.
So, yeah.
We plan, it's gonna work out, so.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon should be good for the businesses on the street there, for sure, the restaurant.
So I don't know how to resolve your specific point. Jennifer, do you want to chime in?
Are you talking about the sublease thing?
Well, yeah, I'm trying, the object is to try to not just rely on goodwill and the character of the people sitting in the room, because that's reliable. The problem is, as we've seen in the past, yeah.
We're bound by our lease too, don't forget that, our lease does bind us there, so maybe that would give you some comfort.
Are you asking about the sub, I think we already solved that.
Okay, all right, we've solved that. So if you put the both, change it to the both, that the office and assembly spaces are covered by the same thing,
Not to
then
be subleased.
not to be sublet, and then we're okay. All right, I think, are we
And
almost
here's the
there?
other- We didn't really do a summary for everybody else here, do you guys?
Yeah. We spent, I mean, Bob Zenkler, this is where Bob and Diane have worked together for ages, came back. Diane has basically gone back and dug up from the dustbin of history. Where is the warehouse, by the way? Where is the warehouse for the city?
You can't disclose it.
We are, I mean, that's the truth, it's outsourced, if you just put in a request for plans and pray that they come back.
So going back to the space without touching any use, Debbie and Diane, y'all can leap in because, I mean, we able to make those revisions in the wording of the application that we've done up to it. The space was originally the Highland Theater, H-I-L-A-N, it had a marquee and the front actually went to it, unbelievably, it's dying years. And then it became, it sat empty, then it became the Metropolitan Community Church or whatever became the Metropolitan Community Church, which prospered. And then actually moved twice and was really doing well. Now it's really at the big time. And then it was empty for a while, and then there was an application for the John Harvard Brew Pub, which had an interesting legal history as it staggered through the process. It was building permit granted by the city of Atlanta, correct me if I'm wrong, appealed by Warren Bruno, who was next door. Warren won at the VCA. John Harvard Brew Pub appealed to Superior Court. Superior Court ruled for John Harvard Brew Pub, making Hakeem Hilliard the lawyer who represented the city on both sides of the cases, both wrong and right. And yet, to the best of our knowledge, no city, they were eligible for a building, they got a building permit, but they never occupied or built out. They had a very grave difficulty getting an alcohol license, which had a more stringent requirement for parking, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it never got built out, then it sat empty for a while, then became the site of the proposed and infamous Cotton Club, which had an interesting measurement history of trying to get the required distance from the residential area across the street, and the owner innovatively proposed a bank teller approach to it, trying to count every foot back and forth.
You built, and built it that way.
And built it that way, but the APT declined that. Not even the APD bought that, and, yeah, it was 20 feet from here to there, but if we go sideways repeatedly. Awesome.
The police department did from door to door.
Yeah,
As opposed to a straight distance.
right, well, that's the way it's always been done, I think, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so it wasn't close. And then it sat empty ever since, and then Jason, y'all acquired it. And so figuring out what to do with it is a huge challenge, and we obviously want something. So here's a Sunday morning use. It's awesome. Parking is free on the street. The place is empty. The whole street is pretty chilled out, except, as it turns out, Neighbors opens at 10.
I do park at 10.
American Roadhouse opens at 8, and Osteria opens. But all of them have been okay with this. They really think you're not selling scrambled eggs, and it's great to have people in the neighborhood. So the question is, where's the parking going to be? So Diane went back, and after much discussion, the grandfathered parking exemption, as defined in the reduced John Harvard.
It's right. The court order that established that non-conformity of 128 parking spaces, of which there are none on the site. The zoning criteria says under non-conforming characteristics of use, which parking is, that you can have equal to or less than the same degree of non-conformity. So when we took this proposal to the city and pulled the plans to show what's in the building when it came out of court order and what we want to put in the building today, the combination of mixes with the tenant spaces that are up front, and the Marco Pizza and the bridal salon, as retail tenant and a restaurant tenant, the remainder of the space is going to be devoted to the church. The church parking is based on the assembly room, the largest assembly room, and the largest assembly room is the main floor and a little bit of the balcony. And that square footage is counted in parking, one space every 35 square feet, because there are no fixed seats, there are no benches or chairs that are fixed in there. And so all of that in combination comes up with the same degree of non-conforming parking of 128. So we took care of that issue with the city before we went down this road to see how get the special exception for the church.
How many people will the church hold in the assembly room?
Do we know?
We have
We're trying to get it to hold 300, at least 300. And that's what we have the plans for. We are not near that big. We're with kids. Just
What
over 200.
the parking is only
attendance and
35
membership
square
is closer to
feet
100, right?
for movable seats, and there's a little bit of a balcony that looks down in there. It will not be enclosed in case that's like an overflow, in church service. And my expertise is zoning. I don't know how the building code works as far as occupancy goes. I mean, obviously, if you could get out of the building with it being a nightclub with seating around there, they've got to have a dedicated exit to come out of the building, for life safety, purposes.
It's definitely that. Have y'all been in it? It's actually a pretty cool place.
It's a very cool place. You still got the slanted floor, so when Penelope and Charlotte go, they can roll balls and marbles down the floor.
Yeah.
It'd totally be cool.
So would you all introduce yourselves?
Yeah, please do. I'm sorry. No problem.
I'll start. I'm Jason Linscott, one of the owners of the building. We're a family real estate company in a lot of real estate around Midtown and Buckhead. We don't live here in the Highlands.
My name is David Criscio, and I'm one of the elders at City Church Eastside.
And I'm Mike Cole, and I'm a pastor, assistant pastor.
And I'm Philip Coben, I'm the real estate agent representing City Church.
Everybody knows me, I'm Diane Barfield, formerly with the city of Atlanta for most of my life.
So we hired Bob to just go over it again because it hadn't been gone over nearly enough. And Bob basically validated, a few quibbles here and there because you couldn't get three zoning people who were experts on it to agree on everything if you had to. But Bob more agreed substantially with the assertions and characterizations and reporting. So Bob has vetted this. We feel that it is, and this is the same logic that applies at the Roadhouse, that applies at Stewart's piece up at the corner. This is what, we don't have all the incredible reporting and detail and all those that we do on this piece, but this is what so it's a principle that we'll be meeting, and I'm actually glad to get it settled. It wasn't really settled. We really weren't sure how this would play out. This is a great tenant, so we're hoping this will work. So can we review the final state of the agreements and polite statements that aren't agreements that we have in here now?
If I understand, the part that says the upper balcony, with the exception of small space included for the church assembly, will be enclosed for church offices, church meeting rooms, and/or accessory space. Said space, as well as the assembly spaces, will be for the exclusive use of the church and will not be rented for independent business operations. And then the one that we're all hung up on, I took that we were taking out the number of events.
That's fine, go ahead.
And we're saying, we're talking about any church event that is conducted on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday will be concluded at 6:30 p.m., except such events may conclude past 6:30 p.m. if dedicated parking for the event is required. We're taking out the notification to
I
the
think you
general.
could put unless such events concluding, but you can clean up the words before later. I want to make sure we don't change it. But yeah, I think we don't. They'll have to meet.
Matches the.
They'll have to match the projected attendance of the event, which could vary radically, wedding to whatever. And can we copy that just where we just clean agreements made for peace in the valley later? Okay, so
So just to clarify, and again, I think we'll most likely be renting the Spark parking lot, which holds how many cars?
75.
75.
that's a lot of cars. Is the drawing down there that Diane's in there?
Yeah.
So,
I have some more.
Okay, do we have is there a scale on those drawings, Jason?
I can email to you because it's a.
Could you give us a scaled copy for
Sure.
next Monday's meeting? Not, that's just, it's not a copy. Well, let's ask Diane what she's going to do. We talked about this.
We've got a question here as far as what Spark parking lot is zoned, I don't know if it's zoned for residential.
It's not tied to the Spark parking lot anyway, so
Okay.
let's
That's something for us to figure out later on.
But it should be sufficient parking for all attendees. I mean, if you're gonna say parking, it should be parking sufficient for all attendees will be provided.
And I don't think we could rent it, well, that's what we talked about, we can't rent it, to a wedding party.
Right, we're not something, you gotta do something. I mean, that's,
We wouldn't
he's gotta do something.
be too happy with us.
So, yeah, can you take a picture of the revised version? And so, Jason, you'll get us a scale.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is, normally we get this done at the planning committee. We got close. We had a lot of progress.
We recorded the meeting.
We met with Bob on this the day.
What's back at
Mostly in the back of the room.
So Diane, I want to hear about next steps. What we got to do between now and the NP to make sure we're all in order. You're going to, Jason's getting us a scale plan. You'll revise that language and send us that. You're going to revise, you've already, we were trying to get a clean history, unambiguous history of the events that led up to this.
I'm doing both of those, Jack, at the same time.
Cool, that's
The
cool.
justification that I'm required to put in for the special exception, I'm adding a clause in there that says the use is a nightclub, but I would like permitted, but has never been operated. And then I'm going to attach what we've agreed to as concessions
Okay,
and tell the planning staff
Cool. Could you send us that before you fire it into them, so
Sure.
we'll just give you, if there's any comment we want to make?
Okay.
That'd be awesome. Okay, I think we're there. And then, by the way, there are a number already of Virginia-Highland members in this church, which is a good thing. And good for us anyway, hope it's good for y'all.
Yeah, it's great.
So I think that's it. Are there any questions, from anyone?
Do you need a vote or we?
Comments? Oh, yeah, we're going to take a vote. I'm just asking.
What kind of church is it? I'm just curious, doesn't matter.
Genuine Presbyterian, stamped and certified. It's Pres USA, right?
PCA.
Sorry, my bad.
You may have corrected that earlier, but it's City Church East Side, not East Side Presbyterian, because it's in the agenda. There's City Church hyphen East Side, I
There's
believe.
probably only about 100 Presbyterian denominations out there, so.
Yeah, Cumberland Pres.
Yes, please.
So I'll move to recommend approval of V15-194, based on the site plan that Diana shared here with the assembly room square footage noted, and on the conditions that we've agreed to, and that we'll receive a follow-up copy of that.
More specifically than the ones that Dan read earlier here, which specify the non-rental, the use, the no plus 6:30 use on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday without, that's official. All right, I think that's it. Are there further comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, so we will polish up our paperwork. We're almost there, and we'll see y'all next. Diane will lead you to the promised land next, the NPU next week. And,
Okay, thank you so much.
all right.
Yeah, I want to thank you and invite you all when we're open to come on and check out the space.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
We're really glad.
Yeah, thanks.
If anyone has any interior photos of the way the space used to look, I think we'd all love to see that.
We'd all
We
love
found
to
a lot of
see it, too.
exterior photos and history on the internet, but nothing of the interior.
Pictures and ticket stubs from Highland Theater, it's in this book on Virginia.
There's a Google picture of the Elvis film that was shown there. It's really funny. Has Highland Theater and
History Center might have some.
Land History Center, yeah.
All right, thanks very much for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I want to just mention this.
Ken, are you here just to visit, or do you want to have a report, or?
Yes, I can say a word or two if you would like me to, or
Go
not.
ahead, go ahead.
Hey, evening, everybody. I'm here on behalf again of the Piedmont Park Conservancy, and thanks, Mr. Chairman and members. Just want to catch everybody up. Anything you need from us, always let me know. I think Jack knows where to find me. Coming up in September is a Passion for Piedmont, which is one of the two big sort of fundraising events and time for food and fellowship with your neighbors. And if you haven't been to it, it's a nice evening over at Gracetown. September 10th, Thursday evening. Everybody come, participate. In particular, we'd love to have people who buy tables and people who perhaps contribute business-wise, otherwise to the silent auction, because that's a big component of this. And obviously, we've got places for business sponsorship. So as we do the work of the park, which is to preserve and protect it and to keep it growing, this is one of the things we do to help get that done. So you all are welcome to join us in September for that. And if you have anything on your mind, let me know and I'll try to answer.
We've probably got in a couple of tickets to the tour for your silent auction.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
That's
the
a great
first-
idea.
First weekend.
And my neighbor's on the tour, so, and
Yes.
Andy. So that'd be wonderful. What a nice thing, and that'll help promote the event too. That's in December, right?
It is first weekend.
Perfect. Can I have someone from the park contact
Yeah, sure.
you?
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you my card if you
Tour
like.
at Valhalla.org. That's the email tour at VHCA.org.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, and we can take a little promotional thing, and lots of people will see that.
I mean, they'll have to get the tickets at will call. We don't have it ready yet. But
Totally understood. But it'd be, that's a great combination. I really like this. I mean, that's good. You all are welcome to come if you can. That's all I have, unless you have something for me about the park.
Do you send your announcement of events to communications@vhi.org, just to be sure we can put it?
I don't, but I should make sure someone over at the staff does.
It's me, communications@vahi.org.
Okay, I can remember
That
that.
way we can get as
Yeah.
appropriate into our newsletter, into the neighborhood list.
Happy to do that, and that's what I appreciate. Sure, I think it's relevant, our region stuff, so
Yeah.
sounds like a great idea. Thank you. That's all I have.
Well, Ken, thank you very much for coming on. Speak outside of somewhat unrelated.
David had a question.
Of course, yes, please.
I have a question, this maybe yours. There's a rumor that there's 4 stages when we visit Midtown this year. Can you confirm that?
You know, I don't know the number of stages. I kind of know where they're at. They're not, they're configured up in the, up in the meadow, of course, and then across the Oak Hill side. But I don't know what the total number is. If I told you the
To
number.
Oak Hill, to the Meadows? That's what we've heard.
That's my understanding too. Correct. Yep. Yep, and of course, that's the city of Atlanta's
We understand.
blessing. So we do our utmost to preserve and protect through that process. And we're fortunate to have Mark Banta, who's a pro from many of these situations downtown when he was running the Centennial Olympic Park, to really know the folks who do these, large-scale concerts, and to help them protect these surfaces and these green spaces.
What about protecting access to the park during
In terms
allowing
of
access?
security and tickets, or
Well,
what?
no, just to lead up to the event.
Oh, on a regular basis, you mean? Or in connection with the big events, or?
Well, Music
Sounds like
Midtown
a good topic
specifically.
for the committee that Alex is.
Well, it is, but that committee may not even start until after Music Midtown. I'm just curious, Music Midtown has like 2 weeks free time
Yeah.
for setup, and access to the park is cut off.
Oh, during that period,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's-
I'll ask Mark for something that summarizes that from his perspective, because the hat he's wearing is make sure that
I can give
these
Mark a
issues are
call.
being dealt with, and then getting with the concert promoters and trying to help them see the wisdom of that. So, and I can send you, Jack, whatever he provides.
That would be great, but why don't you send it to Debbie? I believe she's asking what their NVU hat on.
Ah,
which
in
would
that
be
case,
outstanding.
I'll give you my card.
Thank you very much for coming again. Let's move on.
Sure, thank you.
I'm going to speak to you outside if we can.
I will.
You're up. Give you my card too.
There's just one other planning thing on St. Charles. There's 1111 St. Charles within the historic district. So there's a house that was asked for permission to be torn down because it's not economically feasible to renovate it within the historic district conditions. I won't be here. Debbie, I think, is going to go to the BBC to hear the case. If you get a chance to ride by it, there's no way to know. And the Urban Design Commission handles this. The Planning Committee does not. Hey, Debbie, sorry.
Yes.
When's the Urban Design Commission? I'm not going to be here. It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
The
For
12th.
1111 St. Charles. So, and if you would, can you report back to us? I'm sorry I couldn't go. It's the first one in the historic district to ask for that. And it's be interesting to see. They just evaluate basically, I don't know how the Urban Design Commission is going to know
I do,
anymore.
they have their own system. It can be fairly complex, but, they're fairly thoughtful about it. And something we can do.
Right.
What's the house number?
1111 St. Charles. Okay, so then we were going to move on to the Catherine's.
Yep.
Board of
Oh,
Questions.
Catherine,
Okay.
one second.
We have a presentation?
No, Charlotte and Penelope would like to apologize.
I'm sorry for being disrespectful.
Okay. Yeah, and I very much apologize, everyone, that we disrupted the meeting.
Well,
We are going to
appreciate your
Thanks,
notes,
you
your
guys.
comments.
Bye, guys.
Maybe we should bring toys to all
Bye,
the
bye.
meetings.
Bye, team.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Bye. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Don't
See you
go.
later.
Well done. Be a long run. Long run. I'll get very quick.
We had a nice meeting on August 6th with the fire station. As y'all know, we got the foundation passed, and then there was what I would call the doldrums. We couldn't get anybody's attention, not Alex's attention, not Chief Baker's. We just couldn't get anybody to do anything. And so I think summer vacation ended, fall came around, and Lola and Jack and the whole team came together at the station with, I think, some really good news that Chief Baker was certainly very supportive, but really the folks at the city and the planning department seemed to understand both the importance of number 19, the value in moving it along quickly, and sort of being shovel-ready, kind of at the top of the list. So the basic process was they had a scope of work that they had developed sort of independent of us, the work that we had sort of been doing with the contractors and architects just in volunteer capacity, and their scope sort of are going to merge, meeting them on Thursday, and with Will and Jack and everyone. We're going to try to merge the two scopes together, get something really tight, and I think we made actually a fairly powerful argument in the meeting that the neighborhood and the community needs to have a voice in what this renovation looks like and feels like, because the city has a terrible record, frankly, of historic preservation renovations. I wouldn't say that out loud, but I did on camera. But anyway, so I think they were very mindful of our concerns, welcomed the opportunity to come up with a scope, welcomed the opportunity to present it to the neighborhood, get additional feedback, additional sort of ideas. So it didn't feel like they were going to operate sort of outside of the community's sort of interest. Now that's going to take some constant vigilance and conversation and sort of activity, but I think Jack and Laura, which all agree that I think everyone came to the table with goodwill and really seemed to want to move this along very quickly.
Don't establish any timeframe.
We're not sure, we'll know Thursday, I think, but the next step is to get a very clean and tight scope of work and then make a presentation to the community. So our hope is we're meeting Thursday for that.
So who's doing that?
Well, the city has their scope and then we proposed a scope. So we're going to try to merge them all together. So we'll stay on top of it as best we can.
Did they ever provide an accounting as a part of the fire station money that is?
Yes, well, that's a different department because that's the fire foundation. And they were very kind, but would like to keep those funds within the fire foundation available for the construction, but they don't want to merge it into, despite my best argument and effort. So there's about $50,000 in that account, not confirmed.
So they've actually provided an accounting?
I haven't seen it, but that's the estimate. I haven't seen it, but that's my goal. And then on top of that, just as a favor to the fire department and to the city, my team is going to step in with Fire Station 6 and curate an exhibit on the history of the fire department. So as a sort of, I wouldn't call it a guide, but I would call it a keep everybody kind of moving in the same direction. And frankly, respect our history. And so I think those two things can happen in tandem. And it's terrific for the MLK site and the National Park Service. So we'll kind of run all that at once. And I think it was good news. Don't you, Jack? Laura, anything to add?
No, I thought it was good news. We did propose stormwater.
Yes,
Should
Jack.
be a big piece of it and not what has historically been the thing you do at the end. You patch on some stormwater, throw away at the end. So I think they got it, because I can tell you it's very, very hard for us to argue month in and month out with citizens on this planning committee. You got to do this, you got to do this, and if the city doesn't, there'll be a big step forward if they do it right, and a big step backwards if they don't.
Absolutely.
And
Billy Warren, who represents the city, Joel Slade, who's the real estate sort of office designated Billy, he's an engineer who has a lot of experience. But it seems like I talked to him for about half an hour beforehand, and I think he really understood our position. And I frankly wasn't very shy about saying, you know, this really matters. This is not your average fire station. This is really important to us, and we will rise up if it doesn't go well. And I think he understood it, and I think the meeting had that sort of very collaborative and frankly,